In the bustling heart of Manhattan, where the rain transformed the streets into mirrors of the overcast sky, Jonathan Masters, a self-made millionaire and CEO of a major tech company, encountered a moment that would pivot the course of his life. As he drove through the drenched streets, his thoughts were preoccupied with the critical business meeting awaiting him across the country. However, at a red light, a sight unusual for the posh avenues of New York caught his eye. A young woman cradling a baby, both drenched to the bone, seeking refuge under a meager awning. The woman, whom he would come to know as Ella, stood with a look of quiet desperation, holding a sign that read, "Need food and shelter." Something about her, the protective way she held her infant daughter, Mia, against her chest, stirred a memory in Jonathan of his own less fortunate days. This unexpected encounter sliced through his usual focus on the bottom lines and shareholder reports, reaching a part of him that he had long since barricaded against the world. Driven by an impulse he barely understood, Jonathan rolled down his window, despite the pouring rain, and called out to her. Ella, cautious and visibly overwhelmed, approached the luxury car tentatively. Overcoming her hesitation, driven by the maternal need to shelter her child from the storm, she accepted his offer to get in. The car soon became a small haven, with the heater turned up high and the soft hum of classical music filling the background. Instead of heading to the airport, Jonathan made a decision that surprised even himself. He directed his driver to his seldom-used Manhattan townhouse. As they drove, he learned her name and that of her baby, but refrained from prying further into her life, sensing her need for privacy. Upon arriving at his home, he handed Ella the keys, telling her, "Stay here as long as you need." Ella was overwhelmed by the grandeur of the place, a stark contrast to the harsh realities of her life on the streets. Jonathan, noticing her astonishment and perhaps feeling a bit embarrassed by his own wealth, quickly added, "Make yourself at home and don't worry about anything. I'll be back in a few days." He left for his trip with a mix of emotions. For the first time in years, his mind wasn't completely consumed by work. Instead, he found himself wondering about Ella and Mia, hoping they found some comfort in his home. Upon his return, Jonathan discovered that his house, usually so quiet and orderly, had transformed into a home filled with the light and laughter of Mia. Ella, who had found employment and a daycare during his absence, greeted him with a warm, albeit shy, smile. Something shifted inside Jonathan. The house no longer felt like just a place to sleep between trips, but a potential home filled with life and warmth. Yet, the arrival of his ex-girlfriend, Sophia, a sophisticated socialite from an old New York family, threatened this newfound peace. Sophia, who expected to pick up where they left off, was shocked to find Ella and Mia in Jonathan's home. Her jealousy and disdain were palpable as she confronted Jonathan about the intruders. Jonathan, torn between his old life of prestige and the unexpected joy Ella and Mia brought him, initially wavered under Sophia's scornful words. He doubted Ella's intentions, wondering if he had been too impulsive in offering help. His questioning hurt Ella deeply, leading her to decide to leave, fearing she had overstayed her welcome. As Jonathan watched Ella and Mia leave his townhouse, the skies over Manhattan opened up once again, turning the bustling city into a canvas of shimmering lights reflected on wet asphalt. The heavy rain seemed to echo his state of mind, turbulent and unsettled. With each drop that hit the ground, his resolve strengthened. He couldn't let this be the end of their story. Grabbing an umbrella, he dashed out into the storm, determined to find Ella and bring her back. He found her at a nearby bus stop, sheltering under the inadequate roof with Mia nestled against her. The sight of them, so vulnerable yet resilient, tugged at his heartstrings. Jonathan approached slowly, careful not to startle them. "Ella!" he called out gently over the roar of the city's rain. She turned her eyes wide with surprise. "Please don't go. I was wrong. So wrong to ever doubt you." Ella looked at him, raindrops mingling with tears on her cheeks, her expression a mix of hope and fear. "Jonathan, I can't let Mia think we're just temporary occupants in people's lives," she said, her voice barely audible over the clattering rain. "I know, and I'm sorry for making you feel that way," Jonathan replied, stepping closer and sheltering them with his umbrella. "I want you both to come back, not just for tonight, but for good. You've turned a house into a home, and I can't lose that. I can't lose you." the rain intensified, drumming on the umbrella and around them, as if punctuating the gravity of the moment. Ella hesitated, looking down at Mia, who was watching quietly. Then, back up at Jonathan, something shifted in her gaze. "Okay, we'll come back," she finally said, her voice a mix of relief and resolve. "But we do it together, as a family." Jonathan smiled, his heart swelling with a mix of relief and newfound purpose. "As a family," he echoed, feeling as though the rain was washing away the remnants of his past mistakes. They walked back to the townhouse together, the rain unrelenting but less chilling now that a decision had been made. As they approached, the warm lights from the windows promised a shelter not just from the storm, but from the uncertainties of life. Back inside, Jonathan started a fire in the fireplace while Ella changed Mia into dry clothes. The room filled with the crackling sound of the fire and the soft murmur of their voices blending with the patter of rain against the windows. It was a symphony of the new life they were building. Over the next few days, as the city dried and the sun claimed the sky again, Jonathan and Ella made plans. They discussed new rules, new boundaries, and most importantly, new dreams, ones that included all three of them. Jonathan introduced Ella and Mia to his friends and colleagues, proudly explaining their presence in his life. One rainy evening, a few weeks later, as another storm swept through Manhattan, the little family found comfort in their shared space. Ella watched from the window as the rain washed the streets clean. Mia played at her feet, and Jonathan wrapped his arms around them both. "Looks like we're really doing this, huh?" Ella murmured, leaning back against Jonathan. "We are," Jonathan confirmed. "Rain or shine, we're in this together." And as they stood together, the rain outside no longer seemed like a symbol of chaos or challenge, but a refreshing promise of new beginnings. Each drop that fell seemed to affirm that the hardest storms could bring the most beautiful blooms, and in this case, it was the blooming of a new family, forged not by blood, but by love, choice, and a second chance at happiness. Together, they began to build a life filled with mutual respect and love. Jonathan embraced his role as a father figure to Mia, finding joy and purpose he had never known. Sophia, realizing that Jonathan's heart belonged to his new family, eventually stepped aside. The townhouse, once a symbol of Jonathan's solitude and business success, became a vibrant home filled with love and laughter. Mia's first steps, her first words, and her boundless curiosity filled every room with energy and delight. In time, Jonathan and Ella married, not out of necessity, but out of a deep love and respect for each other. They supported one another through challenges and celebrated each success as a family. Mia grew up in a home where love was abundant, and she knew she was the center of her parents' world. Jonathan's business continued to thrive, but he now had a greater balance in life, understanding that success wasn't measured solely by wealth or status, but by the joy and love he came home to every day. This story, a journey from solitude and material success to a life enriched with family and love, shows that sometimes a simple act of kindness can lead to a beautiful new beginning. It's a reminder of the impact we can have on one another's lives and the unexpected ways our hearts can find what they truly need. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Share your thoughts on this transformation, and join us next time for another uplifting narrative. What did you think of Jonathan and Ella's journey? Let us know in the comments below.